Your home for the best college football coverage in Utah is on the KSL Sports Zone. Ready? The Cougars head to Texas for a conference showdown against Baylor and Waco. Your home for the best coverage of Cougar football is right here on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G, presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hope you're having a good one out there. As we continue to get you ready for another weekend of college football, take a look back on the weekend that was. And remember, we'll take a closer dive coming up on the Cougar Preview Show tomorrow from 1 to 3. And it's all brought to you by Beehive Mills, proud mill partner for BYU Athletics. Ian Fitzsimmons expected to join us coming up here momentarily. I know a lot of people are waiting on the official news from Utah State. That stuff takes some time, folks. It's a slow-moving machine, but I anticipate either sometime today or probably tomorrow morning you'll see an official announcement from the Pac-12 and Utah State that the Aggies are on their way to that conference to join San Diego State, Fresno State, Boise State, and Colorado State.
So it's building more and more into something that is going to be real exciting and that I'm so glad that Utah State's a part of.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll talk more about that coming up here in a bit. But joining us now, Ian Fitzsimmons. Ian, how you doing, man?
What's up, Ian?
Conference realignment, boys. It's an ongoing spin cycle, right? It's like we've been put in a blender, but congrats to Utah State and to UNLV. What the hell are you thinking? I mean, if you think the Big Ten or SEC is going to come calling, you might want to reconsider it. So Barry Odom and the boys, you might want to follow Utah State and those Aggies right over there to the Pac-12 because you ain't getting a hell of a lot better than that. So no-brainer. Congratulations to Utah State.
Why are they dragging their feet?
I have no idea. It's when I saw that the other day, I'm going, man, wait, who do you think you are? I mean, I know you've had some great wins, and Barry Odom is doing an outstanding job there. You know, the head coach at UNLV, but I mean, the Big Ten's not going to come calling, the ACC's not going to come calling, the Big 12's not going to come calling. So this is your best option, and it's a better option than the Mountain West. The Mountain West is about to go bye-bye.
Yeah,
they're the new Pac-12, so. It was a no-brainer for Utah State. I guarantee you, they didn't even think about it. When they got the offer, I was like, yep, sold, done. You know, and UNLV should be doing the same thing. So, Hans, I don't have an answer for you, man. And if anybody does, give me a call because it makes absolutely no sense.
Well, and I have a sneaking suspicion that they're reconsidering, and there's probably something else that's going to come out later today. And then you look at Air Force, and where does Air Force go? AAC with Navy and Army, or do they come to the Pac-12 as well? So you can have 9 teams, make your scheduling a little bit easier there. I mean, look, I think this is a dire day for the Mountain West Conference, and you spent some time here. You covered that conference, and
it was great.
This thing could fall apart real quickly.
It is. I mean, just go ahead. You can go present tense.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they are the new Pac-12, and they had a hell of a run. It was a great conference. And I do mean great, man. There was some good football played there. You know, I mean, go back to the 04 Utes, you know, going undefeated. I mean, BYU, you know, San Diego State, whether it was basketball or football, had some great years. Go on down the list, man. It's part of the new age that we live in. And I don't want to get too much into realignment, but I'll tell you this, you know, coming up, whether it's throw out any arbitrary number you want, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, there will be a new Division I. Because you're going to have about 60 teams. The SEC, maybe not even that many, maybe lower than that, maybe low 50s, where you're going to have the SEC, the Big Ten, and then right now I'd say the Big 12 and a few stragglers that are all going to leave because the NCAA has zero control over the college football playoff. A lot of fans don't understand that. The NCAA has nothing to do with it. Zero. Zilch. They're going to go ahead and form a new D1, and that will be your new college football playoff division, whatever they're going to end up calling it. And then you're going to have the Pac-12s of the world and whomever else, the Tulsas, you know, the Navies, you know, those schools are going to be the new deep Division I AA, and so on and so forth. And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I think North Dakota State has a problem kicking everybody's butt every year and contending for national championships. No, they're pretty darn content. So does James Madison. So is Richmond. And those schools are never going to compete for the big tamale, but they're going to get they're going to go and get a hell of a taco every now and then, if that makes sense. It ain't as big, but it tastes pretty darn good.
How big is the Big 12 right now, in your opinion?
What do you mean, how big?
Like in comparison to the other major conferences in the country and
they're third.
Their TV revenue and just their ability to compete.
It's SEC and Big Ten are in a class of their own. Not even close. And then right beneath them, you've got the Big 12. To me, they are ahead of the ACC. And if there's going to be a third major conference that survives into that scenario that I just talked about, it would be the Big 12. Brett Yormark is just vicious, man. That guy's a savage. And he's forward thinking. And he doesn't care who he hacks off in trying to benefit the Big 12 conference. So it's stable, and it's right behind the SEC and the Big 10. And they're not going anywhere. That's why I threw them in there as far as the future of college football. They're going to be involved. There's no doubt about it. Now, some schools may not make the cut, but Utah and BYU damn sure will. One, because of viewership, history. They put butts in seats. They sell out every game, and they get eyeballs on TVs. So, I mean, the Big 12 is going to be just fine. Will Central Florida make the cut? It depends on how the Gus Bus does down there, in Orlando. It's a heck of a recruiting area, and if you can put a bunch of landmines around it, then you can build a heck of a football program. So, but overall, yeah, the Big 12 is right beneath the SEC and the Big 10 as that third power conference.
Ian Fitzsimmons joining us for his weekly conversation. Ian, when you see Utah go to Oklahoma State and look, I know Oklahoma State had some couple scores late to make it a little bit more respectable, but for about 55 minutes, that was just an old-fashioned butt-whooping, especially defensively from Morgan Scalley's crew. How impressive is that to see that from that Utah defense on the road and with a true freshman quarterback?
Man, they don't have a lot of pro prospects on this team, but what they do have are a bunch of dudes that just play hard for the guy next to them. They are a true team, and it was hotter than Hades, man. I'd rather be in the inner rings of Dante's Inferno than go back there again. It was 152. The heat index on that field turf, 152. It was a gold bond day, boys. I mean, talk up, man, because
a little chafing.
It got nasty. It didn't matter how much water you put in there. I actually saw Swoop dive into an ice bin up the Utah tunnel. I put it out there on Twitter. I've never seen that before. Picture an ice bin like you're at the gas station, right? A service station. You're going to get a bag of ice. Yeah. One of those things. Swoop dove into the damn thing. That's how hot he was. I mean, I'd never seen that before in my life. Bottom line is those conditions were brutal for both teams. But, Oklahoma's used to it. Utah isn't. And it didn't matter. Mind over matter. That is not just a physically tough football team, but a mentally tough football team. And in the second half, going into halftime, Kyle Whittingham told us, we got to establish a run in the second half. And my gosh, did they. I mean, Bernard was a wrecking machine in the second half. It was beyond impressive to watch. And then Isaac Wilson to be the first true freshman quarterback at Utah to beat a ranked team, much less a top 15 team, much less on the road in the history of that storied program. Very impressive. And you do it without Connor O'Toole and Karini Reed. Man, you want to – in the movie My Cousin Vinny, they go, Judge Chamberlain holla, what is a Ute? Well, I'll tell you what a Ute is to the Big 12. Big 12, get ready, man, because that's a team that's going to bring a lunch pail and a hard hat and knock the snot out of you. That's what a Ute is in the newly formed Big 12 conference. It was so impressive to watch.
And, and that's kind of why I was asking your take on the Big 12 because, Utah goes in with a freshman quarterback and without some of their big defensive players and they beat Oklahoma State, and then Kansas State comes into LaVell Edwards Stadium, and BYU just walks all over them. It was a thumping from about the 3-minute mark in the second quarter all the way through the fourth quarter. It was just an embarrassment of riches for BYU in all categories of the game, made Kansas State look inept, undercoached, underprepared, and a little bit embarrassing.
And that doesn't happen to a Chris Kleiman team, man.
Right.
That dude can coach him up, and that is a hard-nosed, blue-collar football program. They're not throwing it all over the yard. I mean, that's not air raid like you see at Texas Tech and other schools, right? I mean, that's a team that wants to line up and hit you. And they got punched in the mouth and didn't punch back. It was when I was watching that game. We got back to the hotel and I'm watching that game. And remember, we talked about it last week. I said, you want national recognition? And Kalani Sitake don't want it right now. He wants to fly under the radar, boys, right? I mean, you know him. I mean, he just kind of don't talk about us and look up come late to October. And, hey, man, we're sitting here 8-1, 7-1. Then they're more than happy to not be noticed nationally. But I said, you beat Kansas State, you will be. And here they are in the top 25. And what did they for? 3 turnovers. Ratzlaff was efficient, not great, but he, took care of the football. I think the BYU only toted it for around 3.5 yards a carry, but they never gave up on the run. But defensively, hey man, Taggart and Kelly can play for me anytime, man. You give me 11 and 17 on my squad, I'll take them, and I'll get in the trenches with them. I mean, it was beyond impressive, and now the people are taking note. Watch out for BYU. That is a physical football team that's not afraid to get nasty. Just like Utah, hell of a win, impressive, and college football across the country took note.
Who had the more impressive victory, Utah or BYU?
Because it was on the road, I'm going to go Utah. And in those conditions, man, did I mention it was 152 heat index on that field turf?
You brought that up, yes.
Dude, my shirt didn't come back, Scotty. I left it, man. I went up there with a 10-year-old Joseph A. Bank white button-down shirt with a slightly frayed collar. That sucker is still in that hotel room.
Probably walking by itself.
Yeah, he could probably stand up in the corner.
And I had the Under Armour freaking heat gear on. Man, that stuff will drop sweat from the bottom of your back to your socks, right? And it didn't matter. It just drenched, absolutely drenched. So because it was on the road in those conditions, I would say Utah was more impressive than BYU winning against a top 25 team at home.
What do you think of that Dorian Singer and Brant Keithy?
Dude, look, man, I was standing right there when Keithy got rocked in the ribs. Guy couldn't breathe, and he didn't have the wind knocked out of him. I mean, I guarantee you there's a big old bruise on his left rib cage. Or his right rib cage. It was vicious, and I do mean vicious. He was down for a couple minutes, and when he stood up, I was standing about 5 yards from him. He just winced, and I'm like, okay, he ain't coming back. And then Witt looks at him and goes, "You good?" He goes, "Not coming out."
Love it.
Okay, right? I mean, that's 4-1 mental to physical toughness. And then Singer, he's a volume receiver. Is he going to take the top end off a defense? No. You throw it anywhere in his zip code, he's going to catch it for you, man. So that it was impressive to watch those two dudes, but especially the mental toughness of Keithy. And he doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to do post-game interviews or any interviews at all. All that guy wants to do is line up next to his boys and go win football games. Very impressive.
So give me your you don't have to go through the entire conference, but your top 3 or 4, the Ian Fitzsimmons power rankings of the Big 12 right now, top 2 or 3.
Oh, man, Utah and BYU are right there. I still love Kansas State and Chris Kleiman. I'd say those are my top 3 right now. Even with Kansas State getting a loss, Matty Wells and that coaching staff, and Avery Johnson's too good. He's just young. He had the 2 bad INTs. But, man, I just think they're so physical, and they just ran into a buzzsaw out there. And that altitude will get you, too, if you're not used to it. So I'd put, not because I'm on with you guys, man, but undefeated's undefeated.
Yeah.
And so I would put Utah and BYU right there in the mix, man, and then K-State. And then it's kind of a jumble of in that third tier. Texas Tech's starting to come on a little bit. I mean, that offense is now is starting to click for Zach Kittley. And if you don't know who Zach Kittley is, folks, just go Google. That was when Cliff Kingsbury was the head coach at Texas Tech with Patrick Mahomes. Kittley had one job, develop a guy wearing 15. That dude happens to be named Patrick Mahomes, and Mahomes still in the offseason works out with Zach Kittley. That's how much that's that relationship, and it is long-lasting. They're starting to figure things out over there with the tortilla heads in Lubbock.
Everything all right with Ollie Gordon? Something going on there?
Man, so I was talking – that's a good question, Scotty. I was talking to a lot of NFL scouts on the field, and even I've talked to the same 4 before every single game. And He's playing behind the offensive line. It's actually deeper. They got an Arizona State transfer that's starting at left tackle for him, and Coop is now behind him. Or excuse me, Bradfield's behind him. So you've got essentially the same starting 5 plus 1 on that O-line with that. He ran behind for over 1,700 yards. And it wasn't like Utah sold out to stop him. I mean, they weren't walking guys down every single play. Morgan Scalley put Alan Bowman in a spin cycle. I mean, just messed with his mind. But the first step in there for Ollie Gordon, Jimmy, you played. Go watch his first step. He hesitates a lot now, almost like waiting for something to open up, and it just didn't air. Yep. So, and every NFL scout I talked to has him now as a 6th, 7th round type draft pick. He's going to get drafted, but it ain't going to be day 1 or even day 2. He is now a day 3 guy. And the scouts even said he's more of a media creation because he ran for so many yards that the media made him out to be better than he actually is. Now, going for 1,700 to me is going for 1,700. I don't care if you're going against air. That's pretty darn impressive. But that first step in there and the burst in there, and he's not breaking as many tackles as he did, as compared to last year. It's just not the same running back right now.
Any chance we see Kansas move on from Jeff Grimes mid-season? This Kansas team is the biggest. It's actually the most shocking surprise. Maybe second.
I'm with you. 1-3, and I'm stunned. I am absolutely shocked. I know talking to Reese Davis at our college football seminar and others, a lot of people like Kansas to be there in the Big 12 championship game, and it just ain't there. I don't. And like Lance Leipold can coach, man. I just don't know what the heck is going on right now in Lawrence, Kansas. And oh, by the way, how about a tip of the cap to SMU and the Iron Skillet game? And that's going to turn out to be a better win for BYU than a lot of BYU fans looked at it because they were playing 2 quarterbacks back then. Now they've settled on one, more athletic, the more athletic one than Preston Stone. But you beat your old coach in your barn, and he gets ejected in Sonny Dykes. Does it get any better than that? And then Rhett Lashley, the morning after the game, did you guys see what he did with the Iron Skillet?
No.
He made breakfast for his family in the damn thing.
Attaboy. Very
cool. And took a picture of it and put it on social. That was the old head coach ejected. You run him out of there because he went to your rival, and then you're cooking breakfast for the fam in the Iron Skillet. I love it. I'm all about some pettiness in college football.
Nothing better. Ian, you're the best, man. We appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks, Ian.
Boys, always my pleasure, man. Always my pleasure. And I hope to get out there at some point to call a BYU-Utah game. If I do, stakes on me, fellows.
Love it.
Hey, what do you got this weekend?
I am heading. I got 2 games, man. I got USC, Wisconsin. Then I've got Niners, Patriots. So my old crippled butt is going back to back, man. So we're going to be popping a few Advil for this one because this right hoof of mine with 16 surgeries on it is going to be that dog is going to be barking by Sunday night. But hey, always enjoy doing back-to-back games, man. It's going to be a blast.
It's not like we're really working, though. Come on, we're not working.
Hey, man, unless you're diving into an ice bin like
that's true.
That dude was working his butt off on Saturday.
Yep, no doubt. All right, man. Safe travels.
Hey,
we'll talk to you.
Hands. By the way, dude, hit George's up. The George's in Waco, the one near campus, the original. Get the crazy wings. Now, you're going to need a defibrillator after you eat them, but it's worth it.
Hold on.
Fire off. There you go.
On. George's, it just, is it, what is that?
The original, right near campus. Get the crazy wings. Get 2 orders, Bubba, because let me tell you something. You guys are going to attack it. It's old school plastic plates. I mean, it's been there forever. You're going to love it. And the chicken fried steak, it'll choke a cheetah. Get after it.
I'm on it. You haven't led me the wrong way, so I'll be enjoying Waco. I'm going to enjoy some Georges, and I'll get back to you next week on it.
Come on with it. Scotty, see you, buddy.
You got it. There you go. See, look at that, man. This is worth having him on just for the dinner suggestions.
I'm already on it. I am putting it in the planner.
What do you say? Crazy wings?
Crazy wings.
How about this? I'm on their website. Crazy wings, chicken, pepper jack cheese, and jalapeno wrapped in bacon, fried, and served with ranch or blue cheese. So this isn't just a wing. This is a wing with pepper jack cheese and jalapeno all wrapped in bacon and then deep fried.
Yes, please.
He said you might need a defibrillator. I think that's worth going out with a smile on your face there.
I can't. My mouth's
I know, right?
Said, yeah, and he said the chicken fried steak, he said, was incredible. So, looks like George's, and I will take oxygen.
Yep.
And it sounds like I'm going to need a pack of cigarettes after.
Right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is DJ and PK.
Darius Lassiter, wide receiver for BYU. Now you're 4-0, and now you're nationally ranked, but I heard the words, stay humble. We're older. We've watched a lot of college football seasons. We can't even list all the teams that we've seen get off to a great start, and then they think they got it made, and they lose their edge, and they get beat. What can you do to guard against that?
We knew that we were going to be in this position to where we had to stay humble, and people would start chirping about us and start saying that's how good we are, but we know that there's so much season left that we can't be looking ahead, and we just got to stay in the moment. And that means we got to keep making a play so we can continue to climb up the charts nationally so we can get that respect that we deserve.
Catch DJ and PK mornings from 6 to 10 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to saddle up and talk about the winners and the losers. This is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, here's the good.
It is your good, it is your bad, it is your ugly right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. But, Hans, before we get to that, it's time to give away more of those UFC tickets. There has been very few UFC events that I've seen you this fired up about.
Yeah, this is a big one.
UFC 307, October 5th. And we're giving away tickets right now. Go to KSLSports.com/contest. You're going to click on that UFC 307 button, and they're going to ask you for a keyword. Guess what that keyword is? Knockout. Okay, all one word. KNOCKOUT. Knockout. Now remember to listen to the zone every day this week for your chance to win. We'll give you new keywords. Then you're going to go right back to the website, enter in that keyword, and that will enter you for a chance to win.
Just so people know, Alex Pereira is fighting Khalil Roundtree. That is the main event, and it is going to be it won't go past the second. Somebody's jaw will be broke, their eye will be collapsed, and they will be fighting for life.
So you're not picking a winner, but you're saying it's not going past the second.
It's not going past the second.
Because somebody's going to be hamburger.
If you made me pick a winner, I'm going Alex Pereira because he is one of the hardest hitters I've ever seen. And then your co-main event is Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Pena, which is the best women's card. That's the best women's fight that you've got in the UFC right now. You can't build a better fight, in my opinion. And then Jose Aldo is taking on Mario Bautista, which is, Jose Aldo is a staple in the UFC, and this card is awesome, and you want these tickets, and they're free.
Yeah. All you have to do, again, go to KSLSports.com and put in the keyword knockout. And then tomorrow, keep listening. We'll announce another keyword for your chance to win again. I have not seen a UFC event live, and I think I might appreciate the sport a little bit more if I do go see it live. So maybe
you and I should go.
The three of us go and check this thing out.
What do you think?
I'm down for sure. What day of the week is that?
October 5th.
I know, but is it? We don't have is it a Saturday? It is a Saturday. I will be in Boise. Doggone it. You have a bye week, though. You're open.
I could be there.
That's next week.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a bye week, too.
I could be there. We might have to make that. Might have to make that work.
Chris, we're calling. All right, let's start with the good, and who knows? Maybe the Commanders just found themselves a quarterback.
Yeah. Do you mind if I pull a switch up on the good?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because we haven't talked about the Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah.
And I know it's tagged in sports roulette, but the Utah Hockey Club, they dropped puck for the first time in Delta Center yesterday against the Los Angeles Kings in a preseason go at it. And it was a go at it. Spicy Tuna dropped the mitts and started throwing punches from the puck drop. And the fans were hysterical and crazy. And the Utah Hockey Club put on a 3-2 victory over the Kings and showed people why hockey is going to be successful here in the state of Utah.
Yeah. And the place was absolutely electric. Just absolutely electric. And that's with seats that aren't great in some areas, but people are still going to pack in. The Delta Center renovations can't get here soon enough, but you know what? It doesn't matter. They're still making the experience as great as they possibly can. And right now, I think they announced attendance last night at just over 11,000. I cannot wait for this building to get done here in a couple of years when we're packing 16,000, 17,000 of those Rowdy fans in there, and that place gets even more crazy.
And get into actual regular season that matters. So here's Spicy Tuna's fight, Scotty. So they're kind of going back and forth, but look at that right hand. Right out of the gates. Here's an overhand right hand right there. Bam.
Bam.
And that lands flush. Now, he loses his balance because he landed so hard on that right hand. But watch, as he's falling backwards, watch him flip this dude right into his face. He pulls this guy by his jersey, and the dude's face hits ice first.
Yeah.
So, Spicy Tuna.
That's a bit of a skill set there to be able to, when you're falling on your butt, to be able to flip like that.
And to pull the jersey and make sure that you're slamming that dude's face into the ice. Mm. And if you're offended by this, then don't buy season tickets and don't be a hockey fan.
Yeah.
And if you're like, I don't like Hans and Scotty talking about the gruesome nature of this fighting, well, then don't be a hockey fan.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to just not listen because hockey is brutal.
These are the toughest dudes on the planet.
If we watched an NBA player pull a guy by the jersey and slam his face into the court like Spicy Tuna just did this King player, the dude would never see a basketball court again.
Nope.
He would be charged and thrown out of the NBA. This is praised.
Yes.
And it gives me chills.
You'd have LeBron getting in front of a mic. There's no place for that in our game.
Oh.
This is disgusting behavior.
Adam Silver would be like, in recognition of what happened the other night, we're all going to be wearing a jersey in support of, and it's like, can you just stop in support of violence against other players?
All of our team is receiving the support that they need in these trying times.
We have put in place multiple counselors to take on conversations with players that found that a disturbing nature and terrible display of sportsmanship.
It's very triggering.
It's like, all right, the NHL's like, he got the better of him. Yeah, somebody get that blood off the ice.
Yeah, or not, whatever,
or leave the blood. Somebody's actually like hitting a stop skate on that part of and the bloody ice is flying against the windows, like the glass as they call it.
I love it, man. I this is so cool.
Well, I'm all pumped about the UFC being in Delta Center, and we actually get aspects of the UFC on a other nightly basis with the Utah Hockey Club now in town.
Spicy Tuna is never going to have to pay for a tuna roll in this town ever again.
He better not. He better not. And I was listening to his interview, which he's great in front of a mic. So you get a fighter, you get a tough guy, a guy that led the league in penalty minutes last year, a guy that has just re-signed, just put an extension out there. So he's locked up with the hockey club. Utah is going to live and die by the Spicy Tuna.
Yes. Yep.
Now, it's not like he is the end-all, be-all defensively or offensively. He's the regulator. He's the guy that hits the ice. He's like, who do you got a problem with? Well, number 12.
All right, I'm on it. I'm on it.
I'll break his jaw. You won't see him the rest of the game.
Do you think that he went out to center ice and went to the dude? He's like, hey, look, it's our first home game, and I got to give the people what they want, so just be ready. Just be ready.
The guys on the bench picked you.
And so it's going to be you and me. And look, your health plan's all up to date. Everything's good. Just know I'm coming.
And I'll help you pull your teeth out of the ice.
Yeah. I wouldn't surprise me if those conversations are being had.
It's underrated how hard he pulled that guy's face down into the ice. As he's falling backwards, he grabs the jersey, turns his shoulder sideways, and slingshots that dude's face into the ice. After throwing an overhand left that was nasty.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
It is. It's fun, man. It's a whole different level of fun here in the state of Utah.
There's your good. Let's get to the bad.
Now the bad.
Well, the can of worms has been opened, Scotty.
Oh, yeah.
And Reggie Bush is now going to take advantage of all the lawsuits that are being handed down. And we talked about this. This is now going to happen. But where do you draw the line? Okay, so it's another Heisman winner that wants his money from NIL. So he's going after the NCAA. He's going after the Pac-12. And he is seeking lost wages in name, image, and likeness that he missed out on while he was a Heisman winner.
Yeah.
And he's saying, you owe me, and you owe me a lot, and I'm not going to stop until I get it. But where does this stop? Because it's not just Heisman winners that are deserved money from lost wages, where universities were stealing from the athletes. Conferences were stealing from the athletes. TV partners were stealing from the athletes, taking right out of their pockets.
Yeah.
We kind of knew it, but, you just kind of get to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm happy to have a room, board, and education. And people beat you down so heavily. Like, shut your mouth. You're getting your college paid for.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine free college and what I would do for free college. And it's like, yeah, but nobody cares about you.
Yeah.
You don't do anything for the university.
Yeah, 65,000 people aren't showing up to watch you take a math test.
So shut your mouth.
Yeah.
So if you're going to pay Reggie, just start paying everybody.
Yeah.
Or don't pay Reggie. That's all I'm saying. Either start paying everybody or don't pay Reggie. Because I don't want to get into a situation where I've got to join a class action lawsuit because I'm like, well, why not? If there's money to be had, well, why not?
Yeah.
If somebody took from me and stole from me for 5 years, then why not? Was my name valuable? No, minimally. It was minimally valuable. Do I believe that I could have worked deals and got free food, maybe driven a free car? Yeah, I think so.
100% you could have.
I think I could have. I was pretty outspoken. I think I was pretty valuable when it came to, at least being a face and being fun and having fun and saying crazy things and at least, creating some noise for a restaurant or a car dealership or something. So, yeah, I think I missed out on some opportunities. I couldn't even take a free couch from a foot doctor that wanted to give it to me, the couch.
It's one of my favorites. Crazy stories.
Exactly. And I can't take the freaking couch.
Nope. Or anything else.
I couldn't take a meal from a friend that was a former teammate that came back and is like, hey, I want to buy you a steak meal. And it's like, and they've got oversight on these stupid things.
Yeah. So pay cash.
When agents were coming in and starting to entertain, I couldn't talk to an agent before. I could not talk to an agent before I was graduated. I'd have lost my eligibility.
Yeah.
And they come in with money and they're like, hey, let's go do this and this and this. Could have had an agent that's feeding me $12,000 a year, a minimum. So if you're going to pay Reggie, let's start paying everybody. Yeah, pay Reggie more. That's fine. Pay him more. But if you're going to pay Reggie, you got to pay. And there was another one that just recently, wasn't there, Scotty?
Yeah, there's, and the floodgates are going to open up.
Who was it that just filed a lawsuit? Lloyd, do you remember? Just recently.
Yeah.
Another big name.
But all these guys, I mean, you can go back to, how far back Ty Detmer. Maybe Ty's like, hey, you guys.
Oh, my gosh.
You guys sold a lot of 14 jerseys back in my day. I want my cut.
Did.
I want some of that.
So you tell me, Scotty, I'm leaning on you.
I don't know.
You tell me, where does this stop?
Because honestly, if some judge out there says, yeah, Reggie needs his money, all these guys need their money, then you bankrupt college athletics because they can't pay for it. I mean, they got a lot of money, but they don't have enough money to pay everybody because you're right. Hans, what were you worth back in the day? How can you set up? Oh, yeah, Denard Robinson from Michigan and a couple of those other Michigan players. It's like, okay, how do you establish value and how far back do you go?
And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of athletes.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm just sitting here watching it like I hope he gets his money because then it becomes, class action lawsuits, big groups of guys getting together, suing universities or conferences or the NCAA or whoever.
Yeah.
And you have to be a part of it because it's there.
Yep. I mean,
and you were a part of it.
And Matt Leinert's there like, well, I won a Heisman too on that same team, and I was the quarterback. You were the running back. I want mine. I deserve more.
Matt Leinert's name is worth equally as much as Reggie Bush.
All right, Hans and Scotty, whole world news next, and then we'll get back into the world of college football as Utah, BYU get set for a busy weekend before their bye week, and Utah State on their way to the Pac-12. It's all straight ahead, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's official. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment right here on the Zone. Your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Go! It's time to span the globe for the hard-hitting news you care about. Well, not really. But hey, at least we found it interesting. This is Whole World News on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
We've got the whole world in our hands.
You got the whole world in our hands. We've got the whole world.
Hans and Scotty, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for another edition of Whole World News. Hans.
All right. We got a good one for you today. And I think that this is right up Lloyd Cole's alley. Have you ever heard of toe wrestling?
Oh, no. It's like thumb wrestling?
It is, but it's with the toes.
Oh.
So this happens in Brazil, and Brazil is the mecca for toe wrestling.
Sounds like something Brazil would be known for. I don't know why.
Lisa Shenton is currently the world champion. She said, I am currently the 6-time world champion, and I plan on making it 7 today. So we've got the world championships going down. She's a 14-year veteran of toe wrestling. Her nickname is Twinkle Toes, and she is an undefeated toe wrestler.
Okay.
There is where they actually wrestle, where they because what they do is they interlock their toes, and then they have to drive the other person's foot to kind of a wall.
Yeah.
And you start with the right foot and you drive them to the wall, and then you repeat it once, and then you go left foot. So both feet have to be strong in order to be a world champion. But where they wrestle is called the Toadium. It's up on the Toadium.
Stop it.
You made that up. Knock
Scotty,
it off. It's not even funny.
Scotty, did I make it up, or is it in the story?
It's in the story. Yeah.
There's 28 toe tusslers that compete in the phalangeal fortitude test.
You're
the one that started these stupid puns.
Yeah, no, this is you
ruined.
No, you can't. You can't take some moral high ground on this.
No, you can't.
You started this.
Ben Woodruff is the 35-year-old world champion in the men's division, and his nickname is Total Destruction.
Oh boy.
And apparently, he's got iron toes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he talked about. Listen to what he did. I mean, he went to the extent his toes were getting so muscular. The muscles were building over the nails. He had his nails surgically removed.
Nice.
Because
that's commitment.
Yeah.
Well, he's just so proud of being the world champion toe wrestler. It was created in 1974, and it was created by a group of drunken men.
Oh, shocker.
That took off their shoes in Dublin, Ireland. And
of course, Ireland, drunk dudes. And like, what else can we fight about? Well, let's get our toes locked up and let's do this.
So is the president of this league, is it? I mean, it's got to be Rex Ryan, right?
See, that's funny. I like that one.
That was pretty decent.
So, I mean, look, you're a guy that, you'll show up anywhere and say, let's arm wrestle. Is this something you might be interested? Could you dip your toe in this water?
You should be embarrassed.
I'm not going to say no, because I'm not afraid of feet. Feet don't bug me. I'm not overly grossed out by them, and I touch mine often.
Your husband's toes are weak.
The world champion heavyweight.
Yeah.
His name is Toe Frazier.
Oh, jeez. All right, so you have to take the right foot and hit it against the wall, and then you have to do the same thing with the left foot.
Yep.
And that puts the nail in the coffin.
What's next?
That does put the nail in the coffin.
Mean toe green?
That finalizes.
Go ahead.
Hey, look,
is there a mean toe green?
Mean toe and green is fine, dude.
Okay.
Lloyd, I thought this would be right up your alley.
Smoking Toe Frazier.
But But when the games are starting, somebody yells, "The game is afoot!"
No, stop.
You can't do that. No, you can't.
There were 8,000 car crashes.
Yeah, after your garbage you pulled on Sunday.
Yeah.
Everything is
I
up
don't
for
know.
grabs.
Have we seen anybody complain about it? I don't think so.
Mini.
No.
Yeah, me and Scotty.
Yeah.
When we count as mini.
Yep. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.